morning. Welcome to Mornings with Luann and Tim on Wellness Wednesday. How are you, my friend?
It is Wellness Wednesday, and I am well. Thank you.
Good.
I think I'm almost cleared up.
It's about time. It's been 3 weeks.
Yeah, and that's what I've heard is pretty much the average for this flu.
Yeah, I mean, you've been feeling okay.
Oh, I've been on the mend, absolutely,
Right.
but my lungs have still been producing some stuff.
Yes.
But that's coming to an end, so I'm very happy.
Yes, good.
I'm feeling well enough to actually take the stairs. It's take the stairs day, Lou.
We don't have, I have stairs, yes.
There's not a lot of stairs.
No.
You just don't do the elevator, don't escalator. We don't have any escalators anymore, do we, in Sault Ste. Marie? The only escalator we ever had was in Sears, right? Anyway, don't take the elevator, take the stairs. It's Wellness Wednesday, start getting fit, and it says a 160-pound person who climbs stairs for 3 minutes can lose 30 calories, will burn off 30 calories.
That's all?
I know, that didn't sound like a lot to me either, but I wasn't quite sure. I don't know.
Say that again.
A 160-pound person who climbs for 3 minutes will burn 30 calories. It sounds like a lot of work for 30 calories, doesn't it?
Well, I find.
Could we just run on the spot?
Yeah. Plus, there's no TV in the staircases.
Stairs. Well,
so
you put
for
your
you
things
to keep
on.
yourself busy and stuff, But
a lot of people who work in buildings with stairs will do that, especially like getting
Jim
lunchtime and stuff. Does he?
Yeah. And he does his 10,000 steps plus, like 18,000 steps a day he does.
All right, so I'm not taking the stairs today. Today, this is kind of cool.
What?
After the show, Alex Parr and I are going to go to Hiawatha. They're having like a press day for us to go and experience the whole, like everything, the snowshoeing and the cross-country skiing, and there's something else that I'm going to be doing today. And then they're going to be give us like cider and a little lunch and stuff.
Awesome.
So we get to go experience Hiawatha.
Free food, he's in.
I'll be reporting back on that on Friday.
That sounds awesome.
I know. Lots of snow out there.
You know what? Yeah, there's enough snow for you.
Ski and snowshoe in.
But it's not freezing, so that's another, that's a good thing.
Yeah, so I'm not taking the stairs, I'm taking the snowshoes.
Hey, big news locally. New North greenhouses sold.
I know, I got the email from Susan Richards yesterday.
Yeah.
John, I forget his last name.
John Carroll is his name, and his company is called Green Power Energy Solutions. Now, this is a very interesting guy.
Yes.
He is from Southern Ontario. He has greenhouse management experience as to like 1.5 million plants he's managed.
Yeah.
But this is the kind of entrepreneur he is. This is the kind of thinker he is. So he went from plants. He has a degree in plantage.
Horticulture, perhaps?
Yes, that.
There's a joke there, but I can't use it on television.
Yeah, don't be using that. So he did that for a little bit, and then he decided he wanted to be a pilot, so he became a pilot and was a professional pilot. Small airplanes, WestJet, that sort of thing.
And that's when he was in the Sioux, right?
Yeah.
He came to the Sioux because of his job as a pilot?
Yes, he stayed in the Sioux for a few years because of his job.
Yeah.
So while he was a pilot, he developed a number of small air service companies that focused on bringing gasoline, for instance, to really remote Northern Ontario communities.
I didn't know that.
So now he's back in the plant business, and he says so far that everything is status quo. It's going to be seamless. There's
the transition, you mean?
Yeah. And he talked to staff. Everybody's going to stay employed.
Susan's saying where she is as manager. She told me that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And eventually, he wants this to be a state-of-the-art hydroponic cannabis production facility, and he's going to employ 100 people. Isn't that awesome? So he's going to expand, obviously. So it's still going to be the greenhouse, and he's going to expand and employ 100 people. Awesome.
I love it. See?
What a great
This is what we were talking about when you and I were asking the candidates during the last election about the potential for the change in cannabis legislation to lead to generating income in our community.
Right.
This is a perfect example.
And employees who are going to spend money in the community, right? So this is...
There's a story. You know that property where New North Greenhouse is?
Yes.
Okay, so we had a cottage out at Point Louise, and we actually ended up moving out there when I was about 15. But there was a little house that was on that very property. We have a painting of it because my father loved that little, it was like a little shack. And he just always, for some reason, he had a fascination with it and imagined one day that he would like own this little shack and all the farmland that it was on. So he actually got Kenny McDougall, who's a local painter, what do you call that? He not requisitioned the painting, I guess. Anyway, he commissioned the painting. So there's an oil painting of this house that used to be on there. Shortly after the painting was finished, news, and we have this, there's a Sioux Star article on the back of the oil painting about the poor gentleman who lived there. He was a bit of a hermit. He passed away in the house. Nobody knew.
No.
And he had cats. You know the rest of the story.
Shut up. Stop it.
So the house was torn down, and it is no longer there. And on that property is where New North Greenhouse is. And we have a painting of that house and the article on the back about the gentleman who passed
Back
away.
to the cats.
Yeah, they kind of.
Stop it. Cats do that?
Well, when they have no other food in the house, I guess they do.
But this guy fed them for years.
And afterward.
Oh my goodness.
Indirectly.
Why am I not an animal person? You feed this little critter for years, and then
You know, Luann, if your plane went down in the Arctic and you had your son with you, I'll bet he'd do the same thing after a few days.
He might, but I would never. I would never eat my son's toe, ever. I would not touch his toes. No. First of all, they're kind of ugly, but I would not ever eat my child's toes. That's gross. Timothy.
Well, I didn't what?
Holy, cats eating something. Like, that's
Think
terrible.
about the man's family now. Just let him rest.
Sorry.
It's okay. Anyway.
Our good thoughts are with him.
Yes, he was. I never knew. I mean, never. I think I saw the guy maybe once in a while.
Yeah.
But anyway,
That's
interesting.
such a cool story.
New North Greenhouse. There you go. Sorry.
And this new John Carroll
I don't know who
bought a
has that
house close to New North.
See,
I wonder if it's the same property.
Relocating to Sault Ste. Marie.
Yeah.
I love this.
And he has two grown children in their early 20s.
And they're still living at home.
Yes.
So more tax base for Sault Ste.
Yeah.
Marie. Love that. Okay.
Perfect. The other big thing we must speak about.
Okay, go.
Trump.
Did you watch it?
Oh, I could not. I was up till 10:30 watching the
debated.
pundits. You know what? I have to say, I was watching CNN. So I watched Chris Cuomo, and then I watched Don Lemon.
I like him.
And when they sit down at a desk with pundits, like Chris Cuomo could hardly contain himself. He was so excited as a journalist
so worked
to
up.
do this story that I was just like, I could not take my eyes off the screen. It was just, so I really thought that Trump, I've never heard the word fact-checking referred to
So many times.
as a president so many times in his whole career. But the first panel of guests that Chris Cuomo spoke to on CNN, two of them were fact-checkers.
One was from the Toronto Star. Was
Yeah,
that the one?
Toronto Star.
Because they've been doing the running tally of the lies he's told.
Yes. So, like, I think he spoke for about 9 minutes. There were probably, 8 lies. So a lie a minute. So he's, his average is good. But then, as a rebuttal, thank goodness, Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer came on, and they
happened
spoke.
to her?
And she was very
She was just
deliberate.
Like that.
And then Chuck Schumer
Chuck was just a
also
little bit more,
very-
just a little taller is all he was, and maybe less eyebrow.
So all three of them, if you had to pick a winner, I would say nobody.
I'd say Chris Cuomo.
Chris Cuomo, yes. Donald Trump, we need to talk about the heart and soul of this situation. You mean when kids die at the border because you won't let them in? Is that what you're talking about? Maybe.
The heart and soul.
The heart and soul. And as he's reading, he's saying, and we need to focus on the heart and soul of this situation.
You got to give it up
because
for him.
it's a crisis.
He didn't stray from his script. I watched. I was like, is he gonna? He's not. He never repeated
You know what I
anything.
want to know? I want to talk to the people who wrote that speech for him and included all those lies.
Yeah.
How do you do that?
Kellyanne Conway.
Right?
Sarah Huckabee Sanders.
For once, he actually read what he was given,
But it was lies
and
too.
it was full of lies.
Yeah.
So it's not just him; it's his whole team.
There you go.
Say we have Wellness Wednesday, and we're going to make it up.
It is
to you.
Wellness Wednesday. Okay, so wait a
have
minute.
no
No. Okay, wait, watch. It's Wellness. We have no time. It's Wellness Wednesday. Watch and be well. And we'll be right back after this.
May the force be with you as well.
Joanne and Tim. Thanks for joining me in the studio, Kevin and Rob. This is Rob Rattle and Kevin Yang. I'm going to let you gentlemen introduce yourselves with your titles from the Crane Institute
for Sustainability. I'm Robert Rattle from the Crane Institute for Sustainability, and I'm acting as Executive Director right now.
And Kevin?
I'm Kevin Yang, and I'm the Climate Change Project Officer.
Climate Change Project Officer. So this is really a hot button topic, guys, right now. Everybody's talking about climate. Well, I mean, it's been a hot button topic for you for 30 years. But it really is in the forefront right now, and I think a lot of it is because there's so much denial going on at so many different levels of government in so many different countries. It's almost unbelievable, isn't it, that people are still burying their heads in the sand when it comes to what's going on with climate change?
Well, I don't think it's so much denial, Tim. We've moved through that phase, if you want to talk in psychological terms.
Okay.
At this point in time, people are starting to realize what needs to be done, and there's a lot of confusion. Not too sure what people as individuals can do, and not too sure in terms of the politics what can be done that people will accept. We've seen that sort of situation play out right now in Ontario, for instance, with the previous government had a climate change plan and had some carbon pricing set into that, and then the following subsequent government, for reasons of their own, decided to move away from that. So there's a little bit of confusion in what needs to be done at a political level, but from a scientific level, I think the action that we need to undertake is very, very clear.
It's very clear. The data is there, has been there, and we're actually, we could physically see what's going on in the world that
Absolutely
their effects are having. So Kevin, when we're struggling as a country or even as a planet to advance people's knowledge and awareness and the actions that people are taking. Well, I guess what you're saying with this hub thing is to let's start right back down within the smaller centers, within the actual communities. So how can we activate this? You're talking about creating climate change hubs, is that right?
Yeah, that's right. So one of the initiatives we have with the Crane Institute for Sustainability is a partnership with Climate Reality Canada. And what we really want is, like you were saying, that the awareness is there. People really want to are starting to get aware of climate change and its impacts. And I think there's a big portion of the population out there that are eager to take action. What I think is lacking is the lack of coordination among groups that are active in the environment, and also people feeling that they're a little isolated, they're not, so the role of a climate hub would be to bring all these people together so that we can have a cohesive voice to try and take climate action forward, to try and express your voice and wanting to have a sustainable future.
And so now this has happened previously, I mean, elsewhere in our country. I know there are other examples. Other cities have these climate hubs, right? So the Crane Institute for Sustainability is looking to create one here in Sault Ste. Marie, correct?
Yeah.
Can you give me some examples of other cities that have created climate hubs and the kinds of things that they do in their communities that are actually making a difference?
Yeah, so the Climate Hub, before the idea of a Climate Hub came about, there were already groups in cities that were starting to convene and coordinate action. So there's the Montreal Climate Coalition, there's the Toronto Climate Action Network, the Calgary Climate Action Network, and an example of what they did, so with the Montreal Climate Coalition, is they gathered all these different groups together to hold public consultations with the municipal government to basically they gathered all these different groups, not just like people who you think are directly involved with environmental action, but like church groups, businesses. So gathering all these different groups together to
not the normal suspects.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Like gathering all these people from different walks of life to have these discussions with bodies from government to try and get plans and actions and policies forward and have this public discourse that I think was lacking beforehand. And the results were really good. I think before the next election, people from, I guess, the government were showing signs of, hey, you know what, we see the benefits of having more climate action at a municipal level.
At a municipal level.
Yeah, for sure.
And also, Rob, I think what we were talking before the interview off camera about it gets tricky when you've got federal and provincial, and maybe people feel a little bit helpless at the local level, but that doesn't have to be the case, right?
No, absolutely
There's a lot
not.
we can do locally.
At the local level, that's where the rubber hits the road, so to speak.
Right.
And that's where the actual direct action and a lot of specific activities can be undertaken. So for instance, individuals might wish to bicycle more or walk more. for
Okay,
instance, in
I just got to
around-
point out, this is...
No, you don't have to point it out.
He rode his bicycle here today, in the snow. You're a
Yeah.
brave man.
Well, it's an opportunity to stay active at the same time.
Yeah.
But most
Sorry.
people wouldn't, and I wouldn't even advise a lot of people who have not been doing that for a while to be biking in a snowstorm on a Monday morning, first day back after a holiday season.
Bike isn't even that good.
But the point is that if
Yeah.
the infrastructure were provided, there's no reason why people couldn't or could not cycle more or walk more actively. And so if individuals, and we know that in this community there are a lot of individuals who have that desire to be more active, to be more climate friendly,
Very true.
to take those steps. And a lot of them are doing that. But to push the needle a little bit further at the municipal level, and like I said, that's where the rubber hits the road, we need the infrastructure in place to enable that.
Right.
To encourage that, to facilitate that sort of action on a more regular basis. So certainly 9 months of the year, most people could probably walk or cycle most places in the city, just as an example. Same thing with housing. If you want to become more energy efficient, one of the big hurdles and big barriers is often the cost. And again, previous government did provide a little bit of incentive for that, which was wonderful. Certainly more is needed. So we need to move in those directions to provide that infrastructure that supports it. And again, wider infrastructure. Sault Ste. Marie is making some excellent strides in this direction already. The Bay Street road diet, for example, is a perfect example, going from 4 to 2 lanes now. So we're providing not only that active transportation infrastructure, we're also reducing the cost to the municipality of maintaining our roads. So there's a number of opportunities, and as Kevin said, in Montreal, they see the benefits of adapting to climate change and taking these steps.
See, I was somebody who, I admit this now, I was somebody who wasn't really a fan of the Bay Street idea, but after talking to Rob, I'm seeing the other side of the coin a lot more. I was one of the people, I always said, okay, well, it's 4 lanes right now, and then when winter comes, they do a really bad job of plowing, so it just becomes 2.5 lanes. When there's 2 lanes, it's going to be no lanes. And Rob said, now, wait a minute. You're going to have wider boulevards, you're going to have more area for the snow to go when they plow it, so hopefully they'll adapt it, so we'll still have 2 good lanes, plus you'll have a barrier between the sidewalks and other methods of transportation still available, as well as vehicles, all in the same route. So you see, okay, fine. That made sense to me, and you've won me over with that, believe it or not. And that's a hard sell for me, because I was really adamant about leaving it 4 lanes. All right, so if you can win me over, you can win other people over.
That said, that's one street.
Oh, that's only one street.
We need to connect people and get them from point A to point B. Not everyone's walking along Bay Street.
Right.
So we need that additional infrastructure around town. Housing, the same thing. Food security and food, agriculture, you name it, energy. And Sault Ste. Marie, again, has taken some huge strides in terms of renewable energy technologies. So
Right.
there's another opportunity, providing the infrastructure at the local level, providing the support for it. And we do know that the decision makers around town work very hard to get those renewable facilities here locally in town. And it's paying off.
So you don't feel like this is an uphill battle in Sault Ste. Marie?
Well, I think there's going to be challenges for sure.
Okay, so what's the response been like so far? Now you're having your initial meeting to really plan this hub and to get people involved and to do an information session. All that stuff is coming up. But has there been good feedback at this point before even getting organized?
Yeah, definitely.
For Sault Ste. Marie, it has been phenomenal response already. So we have the meeting coming January 16th.
Yeah, let's talk about that real briefly before we have to wrap up. So January the 16th. What day of the week is that?
That's a Wednesday.
Okay, Wednesday, January the 16th. Where are we meeting?
We've all the details. All you need to do is sign up, and I think
Is it climatehub.ca?
back there. Sign up there, and we'll be sending out all the information details. Right now, we don't have all the logistics set up because we need to know how many people are going to be showing up. But right now, we're expecting a fairly large crowd from the initial response from earlier. So we're very positive about that.
All right. So what is something that you would say to somebody like me in Sault Ste. Marie who is thinking, what can I do to make a difference? As one person, what can I do?
Join the hub, meet other people, and together you can definitely make a difference.
Make a difference.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Together we can pull this
There's
together.
probably more we can do than we even know, right? And that's what this is about, is finding out what we can
Yes.
do.
There is, and everybody has their special areas of interest,
True.
and that's one thing that the Hub enables. It allows you to do what you are best at doing, and at the same time contributing to this big challenge.
And what Rob is saying also is that don't fool yourself that with climate change and Climate Hub is just about climate per se. It's about an entire healthy community. And that's why you're talking about housing, about food security. All of this falls under a renewable and sustainable community. Community, right?
Yeah, as Kevin was saying, in Montreal they brought everybody together, and that's the whole thing. Climate change does not just affect the environment per se. It's going to affect all sectors of the economy, all sectors of society, and pretty much everybody.
Right on. Guys, thank you for being here. Let me know what happens with the meeting. Come back, talk to me some more about what sort of initiatives you get going, because some of the stuff with the research that I did sounds like some really fun, believe it or not,
Yeah.
interactive, engaging activities that could raise awareness
sure.
and even raise some funds to help promote even further the things that we need to do to make our community healthier and happier.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Thank you,
absolutely.
Tim.
Thank you for having us.
Oh, it's a pleasure. So you'll stay in touch. You'll come back and visit me again?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Okay, let's do it. That's all for now from Rob Rattle and from Kevin Yang. And this is, once again, it's the Crane Institute for Sustainability, and they're
That's right.
creating a climate hub right here in Sault Ste. Marie. So for details, you go to climatehub.ca and attend the meeting on January the 16th.
Yeah, make sure when you're registering to put in Sault Ste. Marie as your municipality. We'll get the details through you.
What he said.
Yeah.
And we'll be back with more with Luann and Tim right after this. Tim Hortons has a new menu item available today. Do you know how I know that?
How do you know that?
Because yesterday my lunch was spoiled. I went to the Tim Hortons drive-thru yesterday, and I looked at the little board there, and it said chicken tenders, 3-piece meal with wedges and a beverage,
Oh,
$7.99.
that sounds awesome.
I thought so. So I ordered it, and so I said I'd
and
like
you're
to
in the drive-through.
drive-through.
Okay.
And the young lady, I'm assuming she was young, she said, "Did you want? So you want the Timmy's? The Timmy? What is it called? Timmy Minis?"
Timmy Minis.
I said, "Can I have the chicken?"
So they're kid meal.
The chicken thing with the, and I said potato wedges, and she said, "Do you want the Timmy's Minis?" And I said, "You have mini potato wedges?" And she kind of said, "Yeah." And I said, "Okay, well, yeah, I don't like the big potato wedges, so the minis sound good. I'll take that." And she said, "Okay, what child's drink do you want? You want a juice box?" I said, "No, I want the meal." She said, "Well, you get a juice box." And I said, I don't want the kids' meal. I want the thing that's $7.99 for the 3 chicken fingers and the wedgies. And is that what I'm getting? And she said, you get chicken fingers, and it's a kids' meal. And I said, I don't want the kids' meal. I want the adult version. And she said, okay, there you go. It's $6.99. I said, no, on the board it says $7.99. Why aren't you getting that price? She said, sir, I don't know. All I know is what comes up when I push the buttons.
Ooh.
So I was getting a little tense then. So I was like, that's not the meal that I want, and I don't think you're going to get it right. So let's just cancel that, and I want the chicken salad sandwich and a croissant. And she said, we don't have that. That's one of my favorite things from Tim Hortons, but you don't have it anymore. No, we don't carry the chicken. No more chicken salad sandwich. Chicken salad. I was
No
like,
more chicken salad for you.
so I said, you know what? This isn't working out for me today. I'm going to take a pass on everything, because I was just feeling myself getting really agitated, and it wasn't her fault, and it's hard through a speaker. So I was like, this isn't going to work out for me today. I'm taking a pass. And I drove right past the window, and I drove down to the Bay Street location, because I wasn't satisfied, and I took a breath. And I arrived at the counter, and I said,
So you went in now?
I actually went in.
Okay.
Because I figured I couldn't do another speakerphone thing. And I said, hi, I'd like to have the big chicken tender for an adult with the wedges and a drink. And she says, okay. Now, which juice box do you want?
No.
I said, wait, it's on the board. It's $7.99. And why isn't it coming up on your computer? I don't know. Manager comes over. She goes, oh, yes, somebody actually came in today with a cell phone picture. She was so upset. She took a picture of it on the board and walked into the manager and said, I want this.
Oh.
Corporate stores. POP, I guess it's point of purchase or
Point of
whatever. They
purchase.
send stuff out, and then you're supposed to put it up, and everybody put it up a day too early. All the locations, they didn't put the right date on it. It was not in their computer system yet. Having a meltdown saying, I just want the 3 chicken fingers.
Just give me a potato wedge.
And so then she says, well, I can give you 2 kids' meals, and you'll get 4 fingers and 2 small wedges, and you get 2 chocolate milks. I was like, that sounds like a deal. $14.
What? $14.
I want to go back now today and say, can I get a free 3 chicken tenders? Because I paid for 2 yesterday.
I think you need to go back
I'm
and get
so
that
bitter.
meal and bring one home
And then
for
I
me.
said, and while they're getting it, I said, and I'm really disappointed to hear about the chicken salad. She said, what are you talking about? I said, you can't get chicken salad on a croissant anymore. She said, yes, you can. I said, what are you talking about? And I said, I can. And she said, well, not all the stores carry the chicken salad.
So how
It's
do
a
you know?
franchise.
How do you know which one?
I don't know. But
Are you a
it
chicken
ruined
salad
my
place?
lunch. Tim Hortons, you ruined my lunch yesterday, and I don't even feel like having the 3 chicken, although the chicken tenders were pretty good. I'll give you that. Anyway, that's all the time we have. News is next with Luann. I'm going to go have some more coffee. By the way, we're drinking from our Alzheimer's
Yes.
mug. That's Alzheimer's Awareness Month, ladies
Is
and
that
gentlemen.
Tim Hortons coffee?
This- We'll be back right after this.
And welcome back to Mornings with Luann and Tim. We have some business we have to take care of.
Business to take care of. We had a draw. Greyhounds. 2 tickets to the Greyhounds. You have your choice of attending the game on January the 11th at the GFL Memorial Gardens when they take on the Windsor Spitfires. Or you could choose to attend the game on January 12th at the GFL Memorial Gardens when they take on the Mississauga Steelheads.
Ooh, two good
And
games.
the winner of those 2 free tickets is Tammy Running. Congratulations,
Yay!
Tammy. You'll be receiving an email from Trina here at Sue Online and Superior Media on TV, and you'll be going to the Greyhound game of your choice this weekend.
Awesome.
Yeah. Luann,
Yes.
we were talking about, what were we talking about? Oh, the oldest woman in America has died.
Oh,
She was 114 years old.
she didn't know anybody anymore.
Her name was Leslie
all
Brown.
passed away on her.
Leslie Brown, 114 years old. When her family was asked, what do you think is the secret of her longevity? It was she ate a sweet potato every day.
Usually there's booze involved.
Sweet potato.
When a centenarian dies,
yeah.
they always say, yeah, I had a shot of brandy every night. Or,
114. I was thinking, 114. I wonder how she died. And then that reminded me of that Golden Girls episode when they talk about somebody that age and what did she die of? And B. Arthur says she was fighting forest fires in an oil rig and it exploded. She was 114 years old, Rose.
what do you think she
What do
died
you think
from?
she died of? Anyway, our respects to Leslie Brown, the oldest living now. Probably. Did you know that on the Golden Globe Awards, I heard was it Kurt Russell talk about his father?
Michael?
Michael Douglas talked about his father.
Yes.
102?
Yes.
Kirk Douglas is like
Yeah.
102 years old.
And he's had a stroke for probably about 15
Still
at least
going.
years ago. So yeah, he's still going strong. Speaking of the Golden Globes,
Yes.
there was the water girl. Did you see that?
Yeah, yeah.
Fiji water, you know,
From-
the bottled
she's
water.
Canadian, is that
Fiji.
right?
Yeah, Canadian girl from Toronto, working on a modeling career. Well, she photobombed everybody. Every celebrity that was photographed, there she was. Brilliant placement. Jamie Lee Curtis was ticked off.
Was she?
She said, I actually moved away from that girl because I don't want to endorse
Plastic water.
or for whatever,
brand.
or I'm not getting paid to endorse it, right? So, but
don't-
she clued in and thought, you know what, that chick is everywhere. So she moved away. She still was pictured. She was still photographed with the girl with the Fiji tray.
Wow.
Yeah, so Jimmy Lee's like, none.
Forcing themselves into the picture.
Well, and she said that the organizers need to really ask permission next time.
Yes.
Or bring your own water.
BYOW.
You know what? In a nice plaid thermos. Bring your water with you, right? Then you don't have to worry about
Bring your own
Fiji.
sweet potato juice. You'll live forever. Especially if
potato
it's
juice.
fermented.
And
Coming up is an interview. No, what's coming up?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, with yoga. The Rocket. It's a great story. You're going to love this. Wellness Wednesday. Very cool story about this form of yoga and
Awesome.
someone who is a practitioner here in Sault Ste. Marie. Coming up right after this break from our commercial sponsors. Welcome back to Mornings with Lou Ann and Tim, and joining me now is James O'Brien. James, you are an instructor in The Rocket.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so The Rocket, for those of you who don't know, because I didn't, it's a yoga, a form of yoga.
Yoga practice.
A
Yeah.
yoga practice.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit about the history of where The Rocket came from, James?
Sure. I mean, yoga as we know it now sort of started to be developed at the turn of the 20th century, and there were some scholars who started looking into ancient texts in Sanskrit, and they started finding descriptions of practices moving through postures to help with meditation. And there was a scholar named Krishnamacharya who studied these scripts and started to develop these physical yoga practices.
Okay.
And the Prince of Mysore recruited him to come and teach these classes.
The Prince of who, what?
Mysore. It's a city in India.
Okay, go. Yeah.
So he wanted to have an athletic facility for all the young princelets, I guess.
Yeah.
So he hired Krishnamacharya to come in and teach physical activity practices.
All right.
And that's how the physical yoga practice that we know today, the modern forms, started to develop. It was a phys ed practice for young boys originally.
This was all in the 20th century?
Yeah, around 1910,
Wow.
1910, that range.
Okay.
And then a couple of these young students of his in the school started to progress and become very proficient in the yoga, and they became yoga gurus in their own right. And Krishnamacharya said, well, you're good at this, so you teach yoga this way, and you teach yoga that way. So there was one of these guys was named Pattabhi Jois, and Krishnamacharya said, well, you teach a strong physical practice, involves a lot of breathing and strong movement and postures, and call it Ashtanga.
Okay.
Which means the 8-limbed practice in Sanskrit, because there's, I won't go into trying to explain what the 8 limbs are. But so he developed this practice, and he set up an institute, a school in India for teaching Ashtanga, and so it became a school of yoga in its own right.
Ashtanga.
Yeah, and there were other ones as well, which we know today, but I'm focused on the Ashtanga. And then he started coming to the United States. He said, let's spread the Ashtanga practice to the world.
Okay.
So he set up a school in Encino, California.
Okay.
And that's where he was teaching. And yogis were coming from all over the U.S. and Europe to study with him in Encino.
What time frame are we at now? Are we in the 60s?
In the 70s to 80s.
Oh, okay, a little after. I was thinking Encino, California in the 60s, holy hippie movement, but no.
Yeah, well, it's pretty close.
Yeah.
So there was one student who came to study with him named Larry Schultz.
Yeah.
And he was from San Francisco. I believe he was an insurance salesman. But anyway, he got into yoga, and he started practicing. And in Ashtanga, you start the practice, and there's a series of postures you work through called the primary series. That's the basic entry-level practice. And you have to do the postures, you have to learn the postures in order.
Okay.
And practice them in order. And you can't move on to the next posture until the guru, Pattabhi Jois, tells you you're ready.
Until you've mastered that one?
Yeah. Then you can move on. And they were very strict about that.
Yeah.
So it took Larry Schultz 7 years to get the primary series.
Oh my gosh! He stuck with it?
There were some things he just wasn't physically meant to do. His hips weren't very open.
Okay.
And there's things where you put your feet together and spread your knees wide and fold forward, and he had a heck of a time doing that.
Yeah.
So that held him back. But eventually,
he did it.
Pattabhi Jois says, "Okay, you're as good as you're going to get." So Larry Schultz graduated from the primary series, and so ideally, you should move on to the intermediate series from there.
Right.
And he said, well, I don't know if I want to spend another 7 years doing that. And You know, but he was also a little angry because there was things in the intermediate series, like a lot of things where you're balancing on your hands and handstands, that sort of stuff, which you aren't allowed to do in the primary series. And he says, you know, if I had the chance to practice these postures, you know, over the past 7 years, I'd be further ahead. So he was a little discouraged by this whole linear teacher knows best system. So he opened up a school in San Francisco teaching Ashtanga.
Larry did,
called It's Yoga. And he was in the Yellow Pages under Ashtanga. And so he had this school going for a few years, and then in just 1 or 2 years, I guess. And then in 1988 or 89, I guess it was, he got a phone call. Somebody had found him in the Yellow Pages and said, I have some clients who want to learn yoga. Would you be willing to give private classes? And Larry says, well, sure, I guess. What, can you give me more information? Well, no, just come to this address tomorrow and we'll do an interview. So the next day he goes to the address and gets out of the car and goes to this gate and rings the buzzer, and he gets let in by somebody and goes up to the house.
Wow.
Walks into the living room, and seated in front of him are the Grateful Dead.
Shut up.
Yeah, so they wanted, the Grateful Dead wanted to hire him as their personal yogi for 2 years while they were touring.
Oh my gosh.
Because they were getting older, and some of them had some issues. You know, Larry Garcia had a pretty serious addiction problem going on. He was not in the best of shape, and they thought that maybe they got into their head that Ashtanga yoga might be good for them to physically help them.
And did it work?
He stayed on with them for 2 years.
Did he?
And he wanted to develop a practice that would cater to all their different needs. So he took the primary series, which he had been teaching, and started pulling in things from the other series and sort of melded things all together to make it more exciting, have these little bursts of energy like arm balances and handstands.
Right.
And started teaching that to the Grateful Dead as a group. And Bob Weir from the Grateful Dead has actually said, man, Larry, you got to call this something. Let's call it the Rocket. And he says, it gets you there faster.
Ah!
Nobody knows exactly where it is, but the rocket's supposed to get you there faster. And
amazing.
Yeah, so that's the story of it. And meanwhile, Larry was teaching the regular Ashtanga as well, but in a more palatable way to Western audiences. He didn't have to progress through in stages. You could try the whole primary series if you want. If you can't do some of them, well, so what? Or modify them or do whatever.
We talked before. You moved here from Ottawa. Were you doing yoga in Ottawa, or did you start in Sault Ste. Marie?
I started here.
Started here in the Sioux.
Yeah, I moved to Sault Ste. Marie 12 years ago, and I started doing yoga 6 years ago.
You had chronic back pain, you said, working as a carpenter, woodworker?
Yeah, cabinet maker, and I wasn't living very healthy, and
so you made the choice to try yoga, and it worked for you? Yeah,
good for my body, good for my mind.
And the Rocket, where did you have to go away to study this? Yeah,
I got my teacher training 2 years ago from Leah at Suha Yoga, and that's a 200-hour training which certified me to be a yoga instructor. Okay. But I felt that I wanted to specialize a little bit more. And I'd been hearing somebody from the Sioux who had moved to England. She came back to visit her mother one Christmas, and she offered a workshop in the Rocket. And I took that workshop, and I loved it. I said, this I love. All right. So I started researching it, and I found out about its yoga is still operating, like Larry's school is still operating, and they're still offering training. So,
did you go?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Very cool. So we're going through the magic of television. Yep. We're going to do a little morphing here. The set's going to vanish. Yep. We're going to reappear. You're going to be dressed for yoga, and you're going to show me a few of the moves that are involved in the Rocket. And we'll talk also, as we're doing that, about where we can find you in Sault Ste. Marie to take the class. Sure. All right? Yep. So, magic of television, Larry, we're going to come back. You're not Larry. You're James O'Brien.
I'm not Daryl either.
Hi, nice to meet you. All right, we'll be right back through the magic of television. All right, James, you're going to demonstrate a sun salutation for us. Yes. But what you were telling me about the Rocket is about the breathing. Tell me again about what you told me during the break.
Well, the breathing is not unique to the Rocket, but it's certainly really used in Ashtanga yoga, and it's called Ujjayi breathing, and it's a deep breath into the chest, and you constrict the back of the throat. So when you're breathing in, there's actually an audible sound, sort of like a Darth Vader sound, they call it.
Yeah. Like a,
like a
Well, we'll hear it while you're doing it.
Yeah, and it sort of brings your mental focus to the breath while you're doing the practice, and when you do that, they say it silences your inner critic or whatever.
It's like a white noise, I think,
yeah.
then, inside. And you said you even sometimes they'll give you earplugs, so all you're hearing is that breathing in your head.
Yeah. In trainings, they would put earplugs in our ears, so we wouldn't hear it.
I can totally relate to that.
Yeah.
I use a white noise machine to sleep and to relax because my brain goes too busy.
And
so,
and by doing that, it just becomes a moving meditation. You're going with the flow.
I'm
and
gonna let you go. You do your sun salutation with the breathing.
This is the really basic sun salutation, and but every movement is with the breath.
Okay. When you did that for me during the like while we were getting ready, I was like, "Shut up! This guy's older than me, and he also has chronic back pain."
Exactly. That's why I love yoga. I mean,
I can see that.
Yeah, it's for my mind and my body. For me, I can't beat it.
Let's move on to the next demonstration you're going to do for us. This is something that we would do in the class with you.
Yep.
Where are the classes, James, that we can come and see you?
I teach the Rocket at the Healing Loft.
At the Healing Loft?
On Sundays at 10 in the morning.
Excellent.
I also have an early morning practice on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 6 a.m.
Whoa.
I go there for my own personal practice. At the Healing Loft again.
Okay, wow.
If people want to show up and practice with me, that's fine. Because part of Ashtanga, you're supposed to have a daily practice. So
you do it every...
I go to the Healing Loft and do my practice there.
Wow. Okay.
And I'm also teaching at Jade. I'm doing
at Jade with her?
Yeah, a hot power flow class on Thursday evenings.
Hot power flow class.
Yeah.
On Thursdays when?
Thursdays at 7:30.
At Jade.
Yeah.
You're all over the place.
Some of that will be the Rocket some nights it'll be something different. But
and I love that Sarah and Jade, the owners of the Healing Loft and Jade Yoga, Shirling rather, are just encourage you to take your clients wherever they want to find you.
Yeah.
Love that about
yoga is all about sharing.
Love that about them.
Yeah.
Go ahead and show us this next move then.
Okay, so
two variations you were saying, yeah?
Yeah. In the Rocket, he likes to. It's sort of based on that Ashtanga practice, but Larry Schultz, the inventor of the Rocket, sort of brought in things from the outside to sort of make it more exciting. But it's always an option because this practice is open to all levels.
Well, this first one you're going to do is more of a basic level.
Yeah. So there's a sequence we go through and we end up in Warrior 2.
Warrior 2.
And from here, in traditional Ashtanga, you would bring your hands down to the mat.
Yes.
You would step back.
Yes.
Maybe leave that leg up.
Ooh.
Come down.
Oh my gosh. Your core strength.
And then in the downward dog. And then we wait. Till everybody's all together at the same place.
What do we wait for?
Until everybody in the room is the same place.
Oh, I was hoping that would come through transit because it's coming out around.
Then we come forward and down and up.
Now, show me the
but in the Rocket, you give a different option.
What would the Grateful Dead do? Show me. All right.
I don't know if Jerry Garcia did this or not, but so in Warrior 2. So instead of just bringing your hands down and going through the flow, you bring your hands down, and the right hand comes to the outside of the right foot.
This is always optional. You
This is always optional.
Okay, here we go.
And then I straighten this leg.
Look at that.
Come forward to arm balance.
The hip rotation and the balance, and then down, and then back into the up. And there's the breath.
And then downward dog.
And we wait for the bus. Oh my gosh. This is fantastic.
Thank you very much.
I want to thank you for coming in. This is the Rocket, not the man. The man is James O'Brien. The yoga is the Rocket, and the classes are available at the Healing Loft. You can also check them out at Jade Yoga.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Well, come back again sometime and show us some more stuff.
Okay, thank you very much.
We'll be back with more Mornings with Luann and Tim on Wellness Wednesday.
That's great.
Hey, work for him. It'll work for you. Don't forget, it's Wellness Wednesday. Take care. Take the stairs. I'm going hiking out to Hiawatha.
You're going to learn about all that is Hiawatha.
I am. I'll report back on Friday.
Awesome. I can't wait. You're going to have an awesome day for
We have a show between then and now.
Yes, we do. Tomorrow.
It's Thursday. Bum Slide Thursday! See you tomorrow, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. Have a great Wednesday.